All right. Welcome back to another episode on the Abundance Podcast. We are here at the door-to-door con. Got to meet my good friend Sean through a mutual friend, and he's here with Tripio and talking about travel, which I love to talk about. So I'm really excited about this.
Me too. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Well, we were already kind of wrapping back and forth. I was like, I hate TripAdvisor. And you're like, I did too. That's why I kind of created this.
Yeah. So Tripio is all about helping people know what to do, see, eat, and experience in their travels. So you've got Kayak and Google Flights to help you book your flights. You've got Airbnb and Hotels.com to help you book your accommodations. But then when it comes time to know what to do when you get there, people are asking friends on Facebook or Instagram. They're Googling top 10 things to do. They're being shoved TripAdvisor in their face, and TripAdvisor gives them the top ways that they can make money off of you. So Tripio is all about finding your preferences. You tell us how into adventure you are, how into nightlife, how into good eats, how into art, history, culture, whatever. And we will customize a list just for you of the top 10 things to do, an actual itinerary with like smart routing. So it tells you the order in which to do things. It's really dope. So that's the app. Yeah, that's what we do.
And for every city and every country, or there's certain
areas
that
we're building it out right now. We have like 150 something destinations like built out in the app. We're building out new ones every single day. So we don't have the whole world covered yet, but we're getting there.
Right on.
Getting there. Yeah.
We got to talk to my buddy Michael Grazioni. He's been to 193 countries.
Jeez, I didn't even know there was that many countries.
I didn't think so there either. I had him on earlier today, and he documented the whole thing with Discovery. So I think you guys would have a really wild conversation.
Yeah, I'd actually love that.
Yeah, I'll intro you guys because I think that he would really appreciate your app.
Yeah.
So when did you start it? Like, what was like the why of like, okay, I need to fix this problem?
Yeah, so I love to travel. I've been to 53 countries now, I think. So I love traveling myself. It's just a huge passion of mine. And I was running into the same problem that you're talking about with TripAdvisor and other things over and over. I remember I went to Yangshuo, China. I'm probably pronouncing that city name wrong, but amazing place. And there was these mud caves that like everybody was talking about. Like there was billboards everywhere. And I remember talking to I did do this typical post on Facebook. Back then Facebook was still pretty big. And I guess it still is huge, but you know what I mean? Like it was used a lot more. And
people still love their Facebook.
Yeah. So I post on Facebook, hey, what should we do? In Yangshuo, has anyone been here? And, this girl's like, oh, you got to go to the mud cave. So we go to the mud caves, me and a buddy. It was the lamest tourist trap I've ever been in my entire life. I was just like, how on earth is this what people think you need to do in this city? Like, so we actually bailed on this mud cave experience halfway through because it was like, I didn't want to offend the guide we were with, but I said, hey, we just don't have much time and this is just not where we want to be. So can you help us find like the exit to this maze we're in these mud caves? So we leave early, end up finding these amazing hikes. We rent scooters. We just had such an amazing time just doing our own thing in the outdoors. And I was like, there's got to be a better system out there. Like how are all these tourist traps just like funneling everybody to them?
I know. I've been to so many and you get pissed. You're just like, man, I got a short amount of time to be here.
Yeah.
I got limited resources.
Yep.
And I'm trying to have the best possible time ever. And now I'm like down this dead end road and they're not going to let me get back in the truck until I buy something weird from the snake oil lady.
Yeah. Yep. So there was that. There was all these experiences I had traveling, where I just felt like there's a better way, especially for the off the beaten path stuff. I love going to Hawaii, and there's a lot of hikes in Hawaii that are like really hard to figure out how to do them. And I remember thinking like, man, if there was just an app that would like take me to the exact GPS coordinates, and so I just kind of had these ideas brewing for a couple of years. And then it was 2018. I had a company called Adventure Hunt, which I was on Shark Tank for, by the way. Got a deal. So we can talk about that. It's usually interesting to people.
Yeah, definitely.
But I had this company Adventure. It was kind of like a mini Amazing Race type of event, like a scavenger hunt on steroids, And so we had an app built out that would kind of give you clues and challenges that would kind of guide you around your city to a buried treasure chest, right? So teams would pay a participation fee and then they'd compete to find this treasure chest, right?
Right.
And
is it still going, by the way?
What's that?
Is that company still rolling?
It is, yeah. It's the pandemic. We can get into it. Pandemic, we took a huge hit in the pandemic, because it was all about getting groups of people together, and we were not allowed to do that.
Which was illegal to do.
Exactly. But I remember I was setting up one in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and no offense if anybody's from Albuquerque watching, not my favorite city, not the most exciting city in the world. And my job was to like set up these cool things to do and places to see in each city that would kind of create this fun scavenger hunt. And it was just a little bit harder than like doing one in Hawaii, for instance, or even Salt Lake City. And so I remember I finished testing it. I finally got it done after a few days of work. And I said to myself out loud after I'm done testing this route and it worked, I was like, there's not a ton to do in Albuquerque, but for anybody that comes here, I sure did create a pretty cool itinerary they could do. And I was like, wait, bing, like that's what I should do. I should help people create itineraries. I should help them find the coolest stuff to do and have it in an app. So Tripio was kind of born from, I knew I wanted to create a travel app that would help people travel better, and Adventure Hunt helped me realize how to do that.
So cool.
So yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
And that's where you see these really rad companies like yourself that are actually doing something cool, because it came from a place of like real pain, of real frustration.
Yeah.
Of like, man, and like we're saying, because I used to go places and then would just like find like a cool looking kid that probably looked like he'd maybe sell you drugs, but he also looked like he knew his way around the city. And I'd be like, bro, I'll pay you $20 a day. Show me and my girlfriend around. Let's go see the stuff people don't see. And would have really rad experiences, and end up eating, dinner with the family, his family, going to beaches that nobody knew of. Yeah. And I was like, wow, this is really rad. I wish this wasn't an app. So I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, you'll have to check it out. I'm honestly like very, very proud of it. Like I've been an entrepreneur so I did door-to-door stuff for 5 years, 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I started my own company, and, ran it for 2.5 years, sold it, started another company, ran it for 4 years, sold it, did another one. So I've been doing like, I've had a couple of exits, and I've been getting better and better with each entrepreneurial venture.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, like I look at the app and I'm like so proud of like what we've built, because it really is awesome. Like it really is the best travel resource out there. And I know I'm biased to everybody listening, watching, but if you download it and check it out, like you'll see like it's just better. It's just better than TripAdvisor. It's better than anything that's out there.
Yeah. Because
you can customize it. We're not trying to get you to book some tour through us or anything. We're just trying to show you the best stuff to do,
And so would it lean more heavily towards like, hey, here's like just free awesome stuff off the beaten path,
Mm-hmm.
or is there still like a lot of tours on there as well? I'm sure there's kind of both,
so my researchers, I call them the gurus, the travel gurus. So the rule I have with them is we want to have a heavy focus on things that people can do on their own for free without like a tour guide. But if something is like truly incredible, it's truly unique to that destination. Like a good example is the Manta Ray night dive tour on the Big Island of Hawaii. It's like one of the only places in the world where you can see manta rays consistently, like 362 days out of the year. They're in this spot, and they get these big spotlights out, and to do it on your own, you can do it on your own. In fact, the first time I did it on my own, but it's way better with a tour. I've done it with a tour, and it's just a much better experience. So something like that, we put it on the app because it's awesome. It's unique.
Right.
But if you're like, one of the jokes we made before we got rolling here was, the waterfall hikes that TripAdvisor will do, and they want to charge you $47 to
walk to a waterfall. You get there, and there's no gate.
Yeah.
There's no sign. There's no little guy like collecting stuff. Like,
no,
like, I could have done
You're like,
this.
oh, I could have just done it on my own. Yeah. So we try and get that stuff on there. So if it's unique to the area, we put it on there. Obviously, if you're in Rome, we're going to send you to the Colosseum, and you're going to have to pay an entry fee. If you're in Paris, you're going to the Eiffel Tower,
For sure.
But so anything that's unique to the city or the destination, we put it on there, whether it's a tour or free, but we try and help you find a way to do things inexpensively.
Oh, I'm going to try it out for sure. Yeah. Like we travel a lot. And like I said, I was doing it the old way, which, in some cities probably get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's rad. So you actually have people on the ground that are going out and like searching and finding like the next best thing to give you the data back. Yep. And then you're like, not cool enough, bro. Like back to the drawing board, or
we have a system of like a peer review system, a local review system that things will go through before they make their way onto the app. Occasionally, I was actually sitting at our booth over here just a minute ago, and I saw Topgolf in Nashville on the app, and I was like, Topgolf is cool, but people don't go to Nashville to go to Topgolf.
Right.
Like they can go to Topgolf anywhere,
Totally.
And so that's one where I got to flag it and get it removed. No offense to Topgolf, it is cool, but like we're trying to find. I tell them like good, better, best. Like we're only wanting to put the best stuff on here, people can find good, they can find better. They could just through Google searches. We want to be the one that's like, hey, all of the best stuff is on Tripio. You don't need to sift through anything else. Just go to Tripio and the best stuff is there, so
that's so rad. And you were saying even too, like based on where you want to go, you can put in your preferences, mm-hmm. and then it'll start spitting out. Like if you're more into art, if you're more into adventure, and it'll spit all that out.
We even have like levels of adventure. So like your easy adventure stuff, which we consider to be like a cool beach to go lounge at, or, something like that. Maybe a simple hike. And then moderate adventure would be like maybe beginner level surfing spots or snorkel spots, or maybe a slightly more difficult hike. Or, if you're in a city, maybe it's like going on like if you're in New York, that thing called the Edge. It's like the glass bottom floor. It's like kind of scary or whatever. Maybe we put that on there. And then intense adventure would be more like adrenaline pumping. Maybe it's, just give it like obvious examples like bungee jumping or skydiving, more intense surfing, more difficult hikes, cliff jumping, stuff like that. Rope swings that are intense or whatever, into water.
Because like New Zealand's like the best place in the world to bungee jump from.
Yeah.
The Sky Tower, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I think that goes across. I did that back in 2012.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. So then I go see these other like little janky ones like outside of like Houston. So it's like 80 feet.
I know.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So I went to New Zealand in 2016 and did some bungee jumping as well. And I'm actually taking Moxie, maybe I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I'm taking Moxie Pest Control to New Zealand for their big trip this year.
Sick.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Super rad. And that's the next thing I want to lead into, is because as an entrepreneur, you start solving bigger problems and it keeps rolling into even more opportunity. Especially you've been so obsessed with travel for so long.
Yeah.
It went from the adventure and then you're like, oh my gosh, my business is shutting down. What do I do from here?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's just the next problem I'm going to solve, which is actually a much larger business, I'm sure.
Yes. And I'm so much happier with Tripio. Yeah.
And you're not going to these, Albuquerque anymore. and setting
no
up.
offense to Albuquerque again. Yeah.
It's a cute little town, but I mean, when it comes to adventure,
I
don't know.
Yeah.
Go armadillo hunting? Is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. They did have some cool, I found a cool hike there with like some petroglyphs, stuff like that. It was cool. Is that what they're called? Petroglyphs or hieroglyphs?
I don't know. We have some out in Idaho, like these really trippy kind of alien like triangle things.
Yeah.
That was literally, I grew up out near Owyhee County. It's called Jump Creek Canyon out there.
Okay.
And we used to go find these giant geodes and stuff like that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And we're like, a friend of mine, third grade, it was my dad's friend. He was like our third grade teacher. Then later on in life, he kind of like showed back. He was like, let's go camp. I got to show you guys this stuff. Went out and saw him. And it was insane. Like, it gave me like goosebumps. Made me feel really odd.
Yeah.
Because of how like profound it was. And it showed like these really tall, like alien looking dudes. Was like, it was really cool.
That is cool.
So like that kind of stuff is, gets me excited because, and especially when people say, oh, would you go here? And everyone goes and does the same thing. And it's always crowded on a Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. It's like, you've already told me the story. Like, I already know about it. Like, I want to go find something else.
Yep.
So let's talk more about, like we said, solving more problems. Mm-hmm. Then you're like, okay, now I'm going to start doing these corporate retreats, which is really cool. We definitely got to talk about that because we have 150 employees. We're always looking to do like really rad stuff where I don't even want to think about it. Yeah. So like, Sean, let's scare the crap out of these guys. Let's go do let's go do some weird stuff. Yeah. Drink snake juice and hunt armadillos and
Well, that's something that so I had done. It's kind of cool. So again, like just like you say, building off of one experience or, tidbit of knowledge and growing with it. We had done the grand prize. If you found one of those treasure chests for Adventure Hunt, was you won a trip with us and the other winners from around the country to go to Bocas del Toro, Panama. We partnered with this cool kind of new unique resort down there where it's like villas and stuff. It's like this tropical paradise that's like very unknown. And so we had done a number of trips with just random strangers from around the country. And it was so freaking fun. Like everybody was like, this was the funnest week of my life. I started thinking like, okay, there's gotta be a way I can get people to know about this, but like pay for it. Cause we were just giving it to them for free because I won this prize. Right. So I had a friend that was on The Bachelor. She was like one of the contestants or whatever you call them, And I remember thinking like, okay, she's gonna like get kind of famous here. I got to figure out how to,
partner,
harness this a little bit,
For sure.
And she's really a great girl. And so I just called her up and said, hey, what if you pick another girl from the show and help me promote this trip to Panama, and we'll just charge people, to come, and I'll pay for your trip. I'll pay for her trip. And all I want you to do is post about it on Instagram for, 2 or 3 times each. And then I'll take it from there. So we ended up selling. It was not as easy as you'd think. Like we got hundreds and hundreds of people to apply to come on the trip, all of which said they would be willing to pay a down payment like today. And then as you like go and actually try to collect money from people, it was like 32 out of 400 were like actually down to pay, We did fill up the trip though eventually, and we went, and it was a ton of fun. Excuse me. And I realized, like, okay, people will pay for this, but getting them one by one is kind of a pain.
Yeah.
And so that's when I thought about, oh my gosh, like these sales incentive trips. I did door to door for 5 years. Like I need to start doing corporate retreats, president's clubs. So I set up a booth here at Door to Door Con and got a bunch of clients year one, and this is my 3rd year here. And every year we pick up a few new clients, and it's awesome.
And I'm sure they're repeat clients. Like, okay, it's our 1 year. Yeah.
Everybody comes back, and I really mean everybody. Like I've had one client who didn't come back the next year. And with them, it's a very sad, unfortunate thing. But one of my main contacts there died in a car accident like a couple months after the trip. It was so sad and tragic. I actually feel horrible even talking about it. But that was a couple years ago, and so I haven't had them as a repeat client. But there was some very tragic uniqueness around that. But other than that client, everyone has repeated the next year. So
I have an interesting question for you because my partner and I are having our wedding ceremony in November.
Okay.
We've been engaged forever, and then COVID and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Where would you recommend that is not on any recommendation for honeymooning? Give me a couple options. And it can, and we have a house in Laguna, so we are in a tropical a lot.
Yeah.
So we're just like out for like just a really amazing experience where we're like, cause we're going to be able to leave our kids at home and just, and go. So like,
yeah.
Are
you not looking for tropical then? Because you.
Well, if it was tropical in a way that like wasn't a Hawaii tropical, it was something like wild that you're just like, it's the most insane spot to go. And we could talk about this offline if you got a couple secret spots. You're like, I don't want the listeners to know.
Well, I mean,
because you're like, I've built a little hut there, and
yeah. Well, ironically, and I don't know how into adventure you guys would be.
We're very adventurous.
Okay, I don't know if that's the honeymoon vibe or not, but you've been there already, it sounds like. But New Zealand is like one of my favorite places in the world.
Yes.
Did you go to the South Island at all?
I did.
You did? Okay, because Queenstown is like one of my favorite places in the whole
amazing
world.
I was trying to marry a Kiwi and just never leave.
Yeah.
Like that was my mission going there. I watched Lord of the Rings, and I was like, okay, I'm going into New Zealand. I'm never coming back.
Yeah.
Spent 3 months there. It changed my life.
That's funny.
And had an amazing time. But also my wife hasn't been. So that was definitely one of the options. It's either that, Japan, or like Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam loop. Because like it'd be a long time before we take our kids there.
Yep. I did Cambodia. So one of the things I used to do to decide where I wanted to go next is I would watch Survivor. And Survivor was moving. Now they just are always in Fiji, but for years they were like picking a new location for each season. And I would just be like, wherever they're going on Survivor, I want to go to that island, that exact spot. So that was a really fun way to do it. And I went to Cambodia one year because Survivor had done a thing there, and it was awesome. It's very similar to Thailand. If you've been to Thailand,
I've not been to Thailand. No,
Thailand would be amazing. Thailand's awesome. Bocas del Toro, Panama, and it's very unique. So you could look into that for a honeymoon. I don't know. You've ever been to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil? That's one of my favorite spots in the world.
Nope.
It's a huge city. It's not like some untapped place. Everybody knows about it, but it's spectacular. You've got it's almost like Hawaii and New York had a baby. It's like this amazing city that's plopped right in the middle of these incredible mountains and these insane beaches. It's awesome. But anyway, just some ideas.
Good to know.
Or maybe go to Iceland, do something totally different. Go where it's cold, but you're doing crazy adventures. I don't know.
I like it. Iceland has definitely been high up on the list for sure. 100%. So throughout you going to all these amazing places and building all these lists, what would you say are your top 3 coolest activities that you've ever discovered traveling the world?
Coolest activities ever discovered? Wow, that's a really good question. I'm trying to think of so there's a place on the Big Island of Hawaii. It's called Narnia. Okay. There's 2 places on the Big Island, I'll say. These are actually pretty decent secrets. They're on the Tripio app, so I've already put the secret out to the public. But the one's called Narnia, and it's over on, that's what the locals call it. I don't know what the real name is, but it's over on the Hilo side of the Big Island. And it's a very simple hike, maybe takes 30 minutes to get back in there. And then it is this series of waterfalls and swimming holes and cliff jumping and caves you've never seen before. Nobody's back there. It's the most beautiful, amazing place in the world. It's like the Garden of Eden. It's so incredible back there.
Wow.
And it's literally just a series, you can stand in one spot and see 6 waterfalls at once, all of which you can easily access and hike to. You're going through big caves. You're jumping off and swimming upstream. Like, it's one of my favorite days I do. The Big Island's one of the retreats I do, and I always take people there. And it's always a total hit. So that's one place. Another one on the Big Island as well is called White Road. And so it's this hike that takes you along this old sugarcane chute like canal. It's like this man-made cement canal where they used to like chop down sugarcane and they'd send it down. You know, it's not in use at all anymore.
Right. Yeah, the sugarcane market is like dead on the islands now, but
yeah. And so when I first went, it was really like cloudy, like that you get to this like canyon wall and the canyon was just like completely socked in with clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, maybe they call it White Road because it's always like cloudy and white in here. And then I thought, oh, maybe they call it White Road because the cement is kind of a white color and that's the road, you know, it's white. Well, it turns out they call it White Road because the name of the street you park on is called White Road. So like,
like, oh, it's actually
not cool at all. Like, way cooler. My ideas were way cooler, but no. So you park on White Road. You got to go through a little, illegal thing. But the guy's name is Junie. If you're watching this, just call him Junie, and you pay him $10 just to be kind. Let him pass. He lets you pass through his private property. He'll do this really cool Hawaiian prayer to the rainforest with you, and then send you on your way. And it's about an hour hike, but you get to the top, you go through these tunnels. So like you follow this canal and then it gets to where the canal goes into the mountainside and you hop down in the canal and you walk like 600 yards hunched over through this tunnel, through the mountainside, and you come out at the other side and there's a really steep water slide that's again made for the sugarcane, but it's all mossy. And so you just you climb up it with this rope. And you just slide down like the most intense water slide of your life.
And it's all moss.
It's
so
all
like
moss,
a little bit of water coming
like
down to keep it
just enough water, because it's always raining, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's this like completely, I say man-made water slide. They're all man-made, but it's not meant to be a water slide for humans.
Right.
It's meant to be a water slide for sugarcane.
Right.
So it's like a little bit scary, a little bit illegal, a little bit, adventurous.
What people want.
And it's just incredible.
Yeah.
And part of the hike is along this canyon wall that drops like 2,000 feet down across the way. This most spectacular waterfall you've ever seen in your life. Like it's just, if you're into hiking even a little bit, like even the tiniest bit, this is a hike you have to do.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
White
Road.
I lived in Hawaii. I lived in Maui for 3 years and found a lot of really, really cool stuff. I never went to the Big Island.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised at all that two of some of your favorite places are in that Hawaiian Islands. It's incredible that how small they are, but how much they have to give.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. There's have you ever done the commando hike in Maui?
Yeah, I have.
Where you
Just
climb
once,
down you climb up the river, you climb into that cave, you climb up the waterfall, and then you eventually climb out those grates, which are like those man-made grates.
Yes.
And then you jump 3 or 4 waterfalls to get back down to the road.
I know, it's just
epic.
Hawaii is like, it's not because it's part of the United States, it's like not as sexy to say Hawaii, but when people ask me my favorite places in the world, I say New Zealand, Rio de Janeiro, and Hawaii.
Yeah. And they are. That it's just, I lived on Maui for 3 years and continued each weekend to find new waterfalls, new caves to swim through, new breaks. Like it just offers so much. And like down in, what's the, it's one of the parks that you pull into that's down next to Red Sands, Wainapanapa.
Yeah. Okay.
Have you been to Wainapanapa?
Maybe, but that name's not.
Well, there's these caves down there and like, they're like these pools and it kind of glows. So people just go in the pool and they stop.
Oh. Well, I don't think I have been here.
One of my buddies was like, bring your snorkel gear. We're going to Wainapanapa. I'm like, there's no snorkeling in Wainapanapa. He's like, you just wait. So we go into the back of the cave and we have water flashlights and we go down and start swimming. And then you just see all these like cavities open up. And I'm like, he's like a big wave surfer. I'm like, this guy's got lungs of steel. Like, I need to pay attention here.
Yeah. And
I didn't even ask him how long we were going to go. So I just hold my breath, swimming. We're swimming for probably like 20 seconds. And I'm kind of like, okay, all I'm seeing is wall. Yeah. And then eventually I see this little light in the back and we go down, we come up in this little tiny cave that looks like there's 2 perfect little seats. And he plops up out and he's pointing over here and I plop up out and we're like sitting in this little tiny cave. Yeah. Just like facing each other. Yeah. And he's like, this is 104 and we're going to keep going. And then eventually we'll come out the other way. And it was like
See, this is the stuff I need on Tripio. I got to see. I doubt we have this, so I might need to pick your brain to put it on.
Dude, there's some cool spots I can share.
Yeah.
Some we got to keep off the record.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. I know that goes.
And I was like, I bet we'll become friends. I bet you'll have a couple in the back pocket that you're like, these will never go on the app. These are my high ticket clients.
Yeah.
So with the corporate stuff, like you have certain trips that you do that you've already obviously
so
planned out.
I have so the ones I have built out and like dialed in, and they're just proven to just be total successes, is the Big Island of Hawaii, Rio de Janeiro, Bocas del Toro, Cancun and Puerto Vallarta, which I love those. They're kind of more basic, I know, but for bigger groups, it is nice to just have a big resort to put them at.
Right.
And then Bali, Dubai, and New Zealand. So there's like 8, I think, that I've got built out really well, but I'm always adding to it,
Right.
So like anytime somebody wants to go, I just talked to a guy at the booth a few minutes ago. He wants to do a Europe thing. I was like, yeah, I'd love to put together a Europe vacation for you, So we can go anywhere. We're good at traveling. We're good at planning. And it's a nuisance to plan a trip for like 30, 40, 50, 100 people. It's a pain for most people. And you've got better things to do with your time
100%.
to build your business. And so let us do that. And the truth is, it won't even actually cost you more because we have so many connections and we can get so many discounts.
Right. That was going to be my next question. It's like when you get a whole hotel block, if you've been there with 4 or 5 different groups, it's like,
yeah, they know us. They're always giving us kickbacks. And so most of my profit margin actually comes from the vendors and my own knowledge of cool places I can do and the hotels, to where it's actually not costing the client anything more than it would if they planned it themselves.
Right.
So it's a win-win.
That's what I figured, especially just like you have your systems down, you know who to talk to, you know how to get it done. It's going to be safe. And like, you don't even have to think about it, because we did a retreat for 30 people in, on this lake at this big, beautiful mansion, outside of Vancouver. And, the owners were like, for like 4 or 5 days, it's like, oh, and then the food, and then the chef, and then the transportation. And then the listing literally says like the last 18 minutes, there's no GPS. I'm like, kind of good luck to you. Like look for like the broken like street sign and then look for this. And my business partners, like, they're all super, but they're just like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to find this place. I was like, we'll be all right. I'm kind of a navigational wizard. Really cool, man. I love your business model. I love to travel. I think it's super rad what you're doing. You're adding like so much value. And like for people to get on the app, I'm assuming it's a subscription model, or
so are you familiar with All Trails, the kind of the hiking app? Okay. So it's very similar to that. You can download the app for free, and there is tons and tons of free data for you to go and sift through and enjoy. But there is like a premium, it's like the freemium model, right? So there's free to download, free content. But if you want to upgrade to like a more robust, more customized experience, then it's $30 for the year. So it's really cheap. It's like a couple bucks a month.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And say the name again.
Tripio.
Tripio.
If you just search Tripio Travel app in Google Play or the App Store for iPhone, you'll find it. Tripio Travel app. Yeah.
Right on, man. Was there any other little travel secrets you'd like to share with the following?
Travel secrets? No, but if people are, and I don't know the exact listenership, but if people are looking to do a big corporate retreat, I'd love to put in a plug in to just check out our website and see if you like what you see. Because we do a really good job. We do take a lot of pride in making sure that people have the time of their lives. Like, and it sounds like you've traveled quite a bit, and you have kids, you said?
I have 1 kid. Yeah.
Okay. You have 1 kid. So I don't have any kids, but like the feeling I get when I introduce people to a place that I love, and I know they've never been, and I see their eyes light up like they love it too. I almost feel like a parent, like introducing your kid to something.
Yeah.
And I just love it. So I get so much pride and joy from helping people enjoy themselves on a vacation. So we take a lot of pride in our work. We do a good job. So just a little shameless plug there.
Oh, no, fantastic. We'll send you a ton of business. Obviously, we're going to speak with you about retreats that we're going to be doing in the future.
I'd love that.
So yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I learned a lot. I'm really excited to travel now.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to go down a back alley and try to pay a stranger $20 to show me like the crazy stuff.
Although sometimes those are the experiences that we live for, It's
for
really
sure.
fun, so
for sure. Well, Sean, thank you so much.
Appreciate
dude.
it.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Tripio, guys, go download the app. Free traveler information. Go have the time of your lives. Life is short. Go have fun.
It is. You're not gonna. These are the experiences are what you remember. Like that's what you take with you is experiences. So live life, travel.
And they shape us. They give us character, right?
They do.
Cool, bro.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.